Lauren. Lauren, wake up. Up, 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 up. I opened my eyes. I was laying on the floor next to Sophie's crib. I sat up. You're awake. A young girl was sitting cross-legged in Sophie's crib, grinning from ear to ear. The girl looked to be around 5, and was wearing an adorable dress that I had impulse bought a few days prior, thinking that Sophie could wear it when she got old enough. It was a bit small on her, but fit well enough. Standing up, she reached over and undid the latch on the crib, the wall sliding down to let her out. You fell asleep and didn't get to see it, but that's okay, it will happen again. The young girl sat down next to me, and I looked at her in her bright blue eyes that looked so much like mine. Sophie? I asked, my head still groggy from my earlier headache. Of course, silly. Who else would I be? Sophie giggled and stood up. Come on, let's go play. I watched with my mouth agape as Sophie skipped out of the nursery. Had I just forgotten about entire year's worth of time? The last thing I remembered was walking into Sophie's room and seeing her in her crib, still very much so a baby. She was just standing there, staring at me, and she had talked, too. She was only a month old, and she had spoken in perfect English, albeit only saying my name. Still, the child I just saw, she was not only a month old. There was no way. She was walking and talking. She had waist-length blonde hair with a gentle curl. She was 3 feet tall. I started to panic. Had I forgotten about another long period of time? One even longer than the 9 months I was apparently pregnant with Sophie in the first place. I saw my iPhone on the floor near me, where it must have fallen out of my pocket, and grabbed it. It was off. Great. I pressed the power button impatiently, tapping my fingers on my thigh as I saw the silhouette of an apple on a white screen. What's the date? What's the date? I whispered to myself. Finally, the lock screen glowed into existence. The background was a picture of Sophie giggling with one of her toys. Well, the baby version of Sophie, at least. In front of the picture, displayed prominently on the screen in white text, was 11:37, Thursday, February the 21st. Okay, the last day I remembered was February the 20th. That was a good sign, but the stupid phone didn't display what year it was. I unlocked the phone and quickly clicked on the Chrome app. I typed the only thing I could think of into the search bar. What year is it? I could hear my heart beating in my ears as the page loaded. When it did, I breathed a sigh of relief. Google displayed the full date. Thursday, February the 21st, 2019. It was the day it should be based on my memory. My relief was short-lived, however, when I remembered the reason I was worried my memory had lapsed again. Anyway, if less than a day had passed, how did Sophie have the body of a 5-year-old? I didn't have much time to think about it before Sophie poked her head back in the room. Why are you still sitting? I said, let's play. I turned to her and smiled weakly, nodding and getting up from the floor. I followed her into the living room, where she had paper and crayons neatly laid across the table. She plopped herself down, lifted up one of the crayons, putting a few strokes of color down before stopping to look at me with her bright blue eyes. Sit and draw with me. As I sat, she turned back to her own drawing. I looked at it. She must have started it previously, as the paper was almost full. It was the two of us smiling at the park. Sophie drew herself as she currently looked. The drawing was phenomenal. Well beyond the artistry a 5-year-old should have. Let alone a 5-year-old that was actually a month old. It was absolutely clear it was the two of us. In fact, it was better than I thought crayons could even create. Sophie hummed as she drew. I picked up the red crayon and slid a piece of paper in front of me. I was just aimlessly drawing swirls on the page, letting my mind wander as I did so. So many odd things have been happening in the past month, but today was by far the weirdest since the day Sophie first appeared. I didn't know how to explain to everyone how she had suddenly grown so much. Even with my salary, I didn't know how I was going to get the funds to get her an entirely new wardrobe and a new bed. Hell, was I supposed to enroll her in school? The one thing I did know was that this was undeniably still the same Sophie. I could feel it to my core when she looked at me with her bright blue eyes. This was still the little girl I had been carrying for the past month. My little girl. I'm not sure how much time passed, but Sophie finished her drawing. She held it up for me and asked me what I thought. It's amazing, I replied. Let's go hang it on the fridge. Okay? Sophie smiled at me, obviously happy with my praise. We stood up and walked to the kitchen. I pinned the drawing to the refrigerator with an I heart NY magnet I'd gotten on a vacation a few years ago and looked at it some more. It really was amazing. I looked at Sophie. She was standing next to me looking up at the image and beaming. I couldn't help but smile. My affection for her was definitely growing. Who cares about all the weird things going on? I'd figure out a way to explain it. I'd enroll her in school. No, I'd homeschool her. Then we could spend more time together. I'd look into that more tonight. Are you hungry? I asked Sophie. It must be close to lunchtime. I'm not hungry. Sophie's voice sounded like music. Her English was perfect. I already ate. You did. I looked around the kitchen. There wasn't any food that she should have been able to reach, and there was no sign that she'd climbed naughty counters to reach something. What did you eat? I ate the baby, she said, smiling up at me. My smile faded as quickly as hers started. You did what? I took a step away from her. I ate the baby. I outgrew it so it peeled off and I was inside. I got hungry waiting for you to wake up so I ate it. Oh? It was all I could say. My mind was racing a mile a minute. I guess that explained how she had grown so fast. Except it didn't, because humans do not grow through molting. Sophie tilted her head as she looked at me. Are you okay? You look sick. Do you need food? I tried to save some of the baby for you, but you were still asleep and I got hungry again. Thank you for trying. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I wasn't more afraid. I was, definitely, but far less than I would have thought. I'll make myself some food, don't worry about me, I'm not sick. Sophie's smile returned. Okay, good. I'm going to go draw more. With that she turned and skipped back to the living room. The rest of the day went smoothly. My mom came over at one point and seemed unfazed by Sophie's change, so I didn't have to worry about explaining it. I also figured out how to convert the crib into a single bed, perfectly sized for Sophie's new body. I packed up her baby clothes and belongings and brought them to Goodwill to donate. I brought Sophie along, of course. It's never too early to teach children to be giving. When I arrived back home there was a large package on the doorstep. I checked the return address. It was from my work. I brought it into the living room. Wow, was it heavy. Opening the box I found it a letter on top of stacks of clothes and shoes. I picked up the note. Dear Lauren, hope everything is going well. We miss you. We know that little ones grow fast, so we pooled our resources together to help you out. Hope Sophie likes the new clothes. Best. Your co-workers. I pulled out one of the items at the top of the box. It was a cute pink sundress. It looked like the perfect size for the current Sophie. Well, that takes care of the clothes. I pushed the box into Sophie's room and started to unpack the new clothes into her closet and dresser. Sophie came in and helped me, squealing over some of the items she particularly liked. Everything looked like it should fit. Even the shoes, which Sophie tried on, were the correct size. I internally thanked my co-workers. After unpacking the clothes, Sophie went to the living room to watch TV and I head to my desk to look up homeschooling resources. All of the fear I'd felt earlier had faded away by this point, and although there was still a part of my brain telling me that I should be freaked out, I could feel that fading away too. I was simply looking forward to spending more time with Sophie and teaching her all the things there are to learn. As I researched, an email notification popped up on the screen. Since I wasn't currently working, I rarely got emails that weren't spam, so I was about to ignore it, but then I saw the subject of the email in the alert. Urgent, I think you have my baby, please. The alert cut off the rest of the words. I quickly went to Gmail and clicked on the email. Subject: urgent, I think you have my baby, please respond. Hello. My name is Natalia and I gave birth to a daughter named Sophia on January the 20th this year. However, she has disappeared and no one besides myself and my husband, Peter, seem to remember her. I know it all sounds crazy, but I saw that you have a baby named Sophie and you don't remember being pregnant. I believe based on your stories that you may have received her around when my Sophia is born. My Sophia also had bright blue eyes. The timing and circumstances make me think that this could somehow be related and you may have a daughter. Please respond. I really need to talk with you. Natalia. I read the email again. Then again. I didn't know what to think. With going on in my own life, I was in no position to doubt the claims this woman was making. The names were similar. They both have bright blue eyes. Could Sophie really be this person's daughter? Was this just a prank? I pressed the reply button and held my fingers above the keyboard. I wasn't sure what to type, or if I should even say anything. I stared at the letters and slowly lowered my hands. As soon as my hands touched the keyboard, my head exploded in pain. I clenched my eyes shut and groaned, holding my hand to my head. I opened my eyes back up just enough to see and slowly stood up from my desk. I stumbled to the bathroom. I needed Exterine. My vision was fading fast. My migraines has never come on this quickly before. I grabbed the handle of the bathroom door. My vision went black. Figures. That's what I'd describe them as. My vision is blurry, but I see figures. Just a few of them moving around me as I lay in bliss. I cannot see who or what they are, but my mind feels no fear. I'm vaguely aware that I cannot move my limbs, but why would I want to? Everything is good. Everything is good.